All right. Microphone checker. 1, 2, checker. Good mornings, party people. Good mornings, Knicks Universe. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm your number one chief rocker, Uncle Freezy, coming to rock the spot for a little stitch of time. So I'm getting back to the audio podcasting format here. So for fans of the audio podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everywhere else, we are. Thank you for being patient with me, man. I've been out for a little bit with a blown up knee, and I'm trying to get back into the swing of it. So I apologize for the absence. So we're gonna try to get into a better routine. Supplying more of the audio podcast for you guys because we care about you guys too. All of you guys that listen to us on the audio podcast platforms. Again, I apologize for the absence. I was on injured reserve. Well, still am on injured reserve, but I'm trying to work through some type of schedule where I can kind of get back on a routine so that we can kind of keep in contact with each other, right? But with that said, we have the perfect topic to resume the schedule. We have the perfect topic to talk about, to discuss, and that topic is Julius Randle, right? So we gotta talk some Julius Randle. As soon as I get started, my dog starts whining, y'all. Shout out to Benny, who likes to as soon as he sees me, every time I say RJ Barrett or Julius Randle, Benny comes around and starts whining. So I have a I'm frustrated. Let me first start by saying I'm really frustrated with Julius Randle. Frustrated is a nice way of saying how I really feel, right? At this point, I don't feel like you can do any more defending Julius Randle. There is no more defense. Let me slide this over so I can see what our chat is saying. All right, I'm just going to move some things around here on the screen. At this point, I don't think you can defend Julius Randle anymore. And I'm a Randle fan. I stand up for Randle at every turn. I get calls from people that are frustrated with me because I stand up for Julius Randle all the time. But even I get Julius Randle meltdown fatigue. Even I get that. And last night was the last straw. When it's everybody's job to make sure you don't have a meltdown, then we have a problem. Just took a sip of this coffee. Man, this coffee is delicious. Miss Mocha, what kind of coffee is this? Bustelo, man, this Bustelo. Whoever Somebody in the chat told me about Bustelo, and I'm telling you, I'm not ever going back to anything else. This Bustelo is delicious, man. But Julius Randle, the meltdown thing is it's old hat by now, right? It's old hat. We're worn out. We have Randle meltdown fatigue, right? We have Randle meltdown fatigue. Hey, and I appreciate the super chats. I have a script that I wrote, and as soon as I finish with this script, man, I'm gonna get to y'all super chats so that we can and thank you for those too. Kendall Rivera, that's our ace. Kendall Rivera, what's good, boss? And Paris Duggar, good morning, Paris Duggar. Hoping y'all having a beautiful Friday already. But I'm fatigued with Julius Randle, and I'm not asking you to have fatigue. What I'm saying to you guys is that a lot of people have already had the Julius Randle fatigue, and say for a year or so they've been at their wits' end with Julius Randle, and I have been the one saying, "Hey, man, listen, be patient with him." You know, all these different things, going to bat for him, and all these different things. But last night, when you barked in Emmanuel Quickly face, that's where you crossed the line at. That's where you crossed the line. And Emmanuel Quickly had to be brave there to go save his guy from doing something crazy. And Randle turned on him and others. And this is like the second or third time this week. This is not second or third time this year. This is second or third time this week. Right? This thing is getting out of hand. And so when I saw him, it dawned on me, I've been around people with, say, similar personalities, not all the time, but I'm saying I've experienced it. And so a lot of times you don't know if this person, because it could be a male or female, you don't know if they're a tough guy or a crybaby, right? It appears to me that Julius Randle is some variation of both a crybaby and tough guy. A crybaby and tough guy, right? But why do you need to be a tough guy with your teammates? They know you. Why do you need to be a tough guy with your teammates? What did your teammates do to you that make you dislike them or get so heated in the moment that they feel like you feel like they're adversarial to you? What did Emmanuel Quickly do to Julius Randle that was so egregious that he had to snap on Emmanuel Quickly? Now, mind you, I'm a Quickly fan. Listen, I'm a diehard Quickly fan. You can ask Hardwell for the Love of the Game podcast, one of the a dope up and coming joint on YouTube. Make sure y'all check if you're listening on an audio podcast. Make sure when you go to YouTube, look for the Love of the Game podcast. They start their moniker with the number 4. But I had to win a debate over Hard Will about how good Emmanuel Quickly is. This is and listen, I understand that Hard Will is an up and coming in the game, and he loses a lot of debates to me and stuff about stuff. But in this case, I had to defend Emmanuel quickly to Hardwell and Worldwide L, right? And I kid about that. I kid about that. Their show was awesome. You got to check it out. But it looked to me like a crybaby was being a tough guy with a guy smaller than him. That's what it looked like to me. A crybaby sees a smaller guy and becomes a tough guy. And that comes across to me as soft. That comes across to me as soft, right? Meaning, like when I see Randle, I don't see a big Herculean guy. I see a guy with a bunch of insecurities and sensitivities that may have grown out of control, where the slightest little thing will have him insecure or sensitive. And that's a tough place to be when you play in New York City. If you're sensitive and insecure, New York can be a terrible place to play or live. Or live. And I understand the rigors of the NBA can grind on you personally. You know, you have all these nagging injuries and you have all of these letdowns all season. Look, like, for instance, we look at the Knicks and we see a team that may have lost 30, 31, 32, 33. Who knows how many times they're going to lose this year, right? But if you're passionate, every loss hurts. Every loss hurts. And I think that's part of the thing that the entire organization is living with. But everybody handles it different. Everyone handles it different. Right? But in the way that Julius Randle handles any adversity that Randle has, we see these meltdowns. And Knicks fans have tolerated these meltdowns for years now. Right? Knicks fans have tolerated these meltdowns for years. He apologized to us after year one. We accepted the apology. He bounced back in year two, became the most improved player, all-star, got MVP votes. And he had some meltdowns then, but he could gather his sensitivities and his insecurities and go back and be a professional. Right? And be a professional. Right? Last year, not so much. And this year, which was more like year two, now we're seeing that it's actually a mix between years 2 and 3. And how much can a Knicks fan take? If you're a Knicks fan, how much of this imploding can you take? Julius Randle is a grenade. And I don't know what other term. I'm a veteran. I don't like using soldier rhetoric when it comes to sports. But Julius Randle is that. You don't know if he's a grenade or if he's the grenade with the pin out. You don't know if this thing is a hair trigger thing. Will he'll impact everyone around in his blast area, in his blast radius. And if he can't control himself and the organization can't control him, then who can? then who can? And why does it take an entire organization to control a man that lets his sensitivities and insecurities get out of control? Does he not understand that Knicks fans, for the most part, appreciate what he brings to the table on a nightly basis? I know there are a lot of Knicks fans that want to get rid of him, but this is part of the reason why they want to get rid of him. And Julius Randle, if you're watching this, you have a lot of fans out here, but we can't defend stuff like this. And I know you'll say, well, it's not your job to defend me. I'm grown. No. Julius Randle, the older you get, the more you'll realize that your reputation is not what you say about yourself. Your reputation is what other people say about you. That's grown-up talk. Your reputation is not about what you say about yourself. Your reputation is what other people say about you. And you have to understand these things when you go out in public. Or even if you don't go out in public, if you present yourself in public, like right now, I'm presenting myself in public in the privacy of Studio G. What Julius Randle does repeatedly throughout the course of a season make people want to back away so they won't be in that unpredictable blast radius. Emmanuel quickly, in this moment, earned stripes because he ran to the blast radius. Right? Is Emmanuel quickly affected by that? Of course he is. Is he going to share that with you? No, he is not. Because him sharing his feeling in public will only make the blast radius worse. So he'll share his stuff in private behind closed doors. That's the grown-up way to do it. But if you're a fan of the Knicks and you constantly watch Randle have these meltdowns, and listen, it's not always in Madison Square Garden. We've seen him in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We saw him in Phoenix, Arizona. We see him in Orlando, Florida. We saw him in Miami, Florida. This can happen anywhere. We don't know what the trigger is that sends Randle off. It can be some nights, it can be an accumulation of non-foul calls, or it can be one egregious foul call. You never know. And if you're in the area, sometimes you just get caught up in that blast radius from an unpredictable personality that has sensitivity and insecurity issues. My question, one of the questions that I jotted down when I first saw it, one of my questions, one of the questions, and I had plenty when I saw it. I had plenty of questions when I saw it, but I jotted them down because I wanted to keep the thoughts fresh. I didn't want to come in foggy-headed about it and then not say the questions the way that I intended them to. So I had a few questions when I saw it. My first question was this. Is Julius Randle who we think he is? Is Julius Randle who we think he is? Or does he have a cover, a guise, another alter ego, a different personality that he hides? Every time I say Julius Randle, Benny comes in. This is comedy. Watch this, Julius Randle. There he is. Okay. Julius Randle is Julius Randle who we think he is? Is he trying to juggle too much? I don't want to answer that today. I want to see this thing play out long term. That right there, I want to see Julius Randle in the coming days. And then that way I can listen to what he says and then make the determination. But what I don't want to do is watch a guy fly off the handle and then I fly off the handle in response to him flying off the handle. And we're all adults here. We're for the most part, we're all old enough to recognize sometimes you get caught up in a situation where someone in your circle flies off the handle and then you fly off the handle and then they fly back off the handle, and before you know it, something that was so simple turns into a catastrophe. And why? Because one person flew off the handle, another person instinctively protecting themselves or something they believe in flies off the handle, and before you know it, you have a catastrophe. So is Julius Randle who we think he is? We don't know yet. Let's gather more intel on that before we make a decision. And let's not, and when it comes time, let's not make an emotional one, even though we are sports fans. And that's what we do. We make emotional decisions. That's what makes us fans. But here's the thing. Here's the other thing that dawned on me when I asked myself that question. I was like, wait, Uncle Freezy, slow down. Is it as simple as this? Is the star moniker too big for Julius Randle to carry? Is Julius Randle the king of New York, or is Julius Randle only built for Cuban links? Is Julius Randle ready to carry the crown? Right now, Julius Randle is the best basketball player in New York right now. Julius Randle is the best basketball player in New York right now. Right? But can he carry the crown of being that? Can Julius Randle handle the responsibility of being a star in New York City? And is that the reason why he's having meltdowns? Is that the reason why he's insecure? Is that the reason why he's sensitive? I want Randle to answer that question. I don't care how long it takes within the next year or so. I want Randle to tell me and us if being a star in New York is hard for him to handle and he needs help. And I'm not talking about trading for Damian Lillard. I'm talking about therapy. Is Tom Thibodeau grinding these guys too hard? Does this whole thing of showing the work every day, playing every day, giving max effort 24/7, is that too much for today's athlete? The reason why I asked that is because before Julius Randle became a Knick, the 4 seasons prior, you never heard Julius Randle having meltdowns. Julius Randle in high school, Julius Randle at Kentucky, Julius Randle with the Lakers, Julius Randle with the Pelicans. You never heard a peep about him having mental and emotional breakdowns because things didn't go his way. Is it Tom Thibodeau? Is Tom Thibodeau's old school ways of grinding on players, forcing guys like Randle and Obi and Grimes and RJ and Quickly and Sims and Farron Hunt and others to crack under this ridiculous pressure that Tibbs applies that gets ham sandwich results? I don't know if the answer to this is which way or the other, but I'm asking the question. Chat, y'all can answer that. Y'all may have the answer for me. Give me the answer, right? Here's a question. Shout out to IKBM Dre, who I was talking to last night. Man, I messed around and talked his head off about this Randle thing and some other stuff. Shout out to him for just listening, right? Appreciate you, Dre. Does Julius Randle's meltdowns inspire his teammates or distract them? And when I say the word inspire, don't think of inspiration as the Powerpuff Girls or the Smurfs. Inspiration can come from negative stuff too. Like failure drives people, just like success drives people. Does Julius Randle's meltdowns motivate or inspire people to be better than they were before they saw these meltdowns? Or is it a distraction to them where they have to answer questions in the media? Hey, man, how's Julius Randle doing today? Hey, man, I saw Randle bump you. I saw Randle push you off. Are you and Julius Randle okay? Does Randle inspire his teammates with this stuff, making them better by failure or by positive reinforcement? Or is it just a distraction that makes the team worse? If I'm a Knicks teammate, say if I'm the 16th man, and I know that doesn't exist, I'm just asking you to follow along just so that I can give my example. If I'm the 16th man, I feel like this is a distraction. I feel like I can't focus, and I'm going to go to Randle and tell him, man to man, Julius Randle, when you do these type of things, you are a distraction to everyone in your blast radius. It's hard enough in this league to win games on a consistent basis without having distractions. Right? But that's me. Obi Toppin can be motivated by this, like, yo, this dude, they're going to get rid of this dude. I got to be ready when they trade him. If you're Obi Toppin, you may be looking at this like, you know what? This dude is crazy. They're going to get rid of him, and I'm going to make sure I'm ready. So does it inspire others, whether it's positive reinforcement or whether it's that negative feedback that drives you to be better? Does it inspire them to do so? Is it a call to action for somebody in Julius Randle's meltdown blast radius? If you're a depending on the way you see it, he could either be a distraction or he can motivate somebody positively or negatively. But you never know. And the reason why I asked the question is because everyone has their own personality. Like all 60 or so of y'all in the chat, y'all are free thinkers, have your own personalities and your own experiences. You've been through your own stuff. And on a daily basis, you go through stuff that may be similar to other people in this chat, but it's not exactly the same. So when things happen, you feel it a different way. You feel it a different way. If you were calling the shots, do you discipline Randle? Do you discipline Randle after last night? Do you sit him? Do you suspend him? Do you take stuff away from him? What do you do? How do you get Julius Randle to understand that the thing that happened last night can't ever happen again? How do you get the message to sink into Randle? How do you get the message to sink in? Clearly, everybody knew he was a live wire. That's why as soon as he started, you saw the plan that they had in place where people started to circle him and you know what I'm saying, give him like the calm down thing, and people going to him like, hey, big guy, you know, calm down, it's okay. You saw the plan. The Knicks had a plan last night. You saw it. What do you do? How do you send a message to Julius Randle? How do you get him to stop? Do you sit him? Do you make him go through counseling? Do you have a open forum where he could just spill all of his frustrations? Do you have a team meeting? What do you do? Is he driving? Listen, is Julius Randle driving fans away? I think so. I think Julius Randle has, listen, the Knicks have haters, period. It's just how it works. There's the Knicks, in sports, you're going to have haters. They're going to hate the announcers, the front office, the coaching staff, the research department, the medical staff, the players, the content creators. They're going to hate everything. They're just looking for something to focus their venom on, to show their teeth. I'm mad. So, but they look for something to a place. So all Randle does is give them fuel for the fire when he does these things. I think he does drive some fans away. I think he does turn some fans off. I heard for a year and a half, people complain about Julius Randle giving a thumbs down. That was 2 years ago. Remember Randle with the thumbs down and all of that. Randle gave a thumbs down, and some fans never forgave him. Some fans never forgave him, and they won't, and that's their prerogative. And I'm not telling them to like Randle. I'm not. I'm saying, listen, for them, hey, man, root for sports how you want to. Just enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Do it how root for it's sports, man. Have a good time. Root for your team how you want to root for your team. Right? Do your thing. But Julius Randle, I'm going to say this as if I'm speaking to Randle, okay? Julius Randle, a good season is being ruined because we're going to remember things like this versus your 46-point game, which by now nobody even remembers. I'm sorry, your 43-point game. Now nobody even remembers. Nobody even remembers your 43-point game now. Right? People will barely remember your all-star berth. They'll see when they see your name is two-time all-star. That's how they remember. But they're not going to remember all the good things you did this season because of things like this. They'll remember the 57-point game because it's very, very significant. But they're not going to remember all the other good things you did on a nightly basis because of this. And this season, that was a bounce back season for this organization. Maybe will only be remembered for things like this. If you're a Knicks fan, you may only remember this season because of things like this dotted across the schedule. Yeah, you remember Julius Randle meltdown in Miami? Remember Julius Randle meltdown in Orlando? He a hothead. Remember Randle got suspended a couple years ago, got kicked out the game a couple of years ago in Phoenix? Is that what you want to be remembered for? Or do you want to be remembered for having a bounce back season? Oh, this thing froze up on me. Come on. There we go. Come on. Come on. All right. Come on. This thing just bear with me, y'all. This thing is tripping. I want to get to the super chats, and this thing is moving kind of slow. All right, let me find it. I'll find it, y'all. Just be patient with me. When you have all this stuff running, man, it slows down. It slows down everything on your computer, man. it just seems like it slows down everything um, on your computer. Let me see. Okay, let me see. All right, come on, come on. All right, let me see. Yeah, this is crazy. Oh, this thing is. I apologize. I apologize for that, y'all. I'm trying to scroll back up and find the two super chats and read those. I apologize that I can't get to them. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find them, and then what I'll probably have to do is read them on the next morning drive. And what I'll do is I'll make sure that I talk about those for a little bit and give them the credit that you got that it deserves. But since we're doing the audio podcasting format, I'm gonna cut it right here and say peace to everybody. If you're listening to this on an audio podcasting platform, I appreciate you. It's Stitcher, Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcasting, where you download podcasts. That's where we are. And I appreciate the tremendous love that the audio podcast show. I think they're trying to rival YouTube. They rival YouTube over there. Sometimes they're it's bananas how much love they show you. So thank you guys for that. Um, Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. YouTubers, next